Kevin McCarthy is our Hollywood guy. He lives his life in the Hollywood spotlight.
And while his tens of thousands of fans who tune in to his interviews and adventures right here on Fox 5 and on his social media pages get to see the glitz and the glamour, that's really only half of Kevin's story.
Hey everybody in DC, it's Kevin McCarthy. I'm here in Los Angeles, here on the Walt Disney Studios, here in Hollywood.
Kevin McCarthy is no stranger to celebrity, but he's rarely part of the story.
For you, you said the movie's very therapeutic. It's a scene where you eat cheese puffs.
It's my first cheese puff.
So could you compare and contrast what that was like?
But this weekend, we learned a little more about our co-worker and our friend, outside of jet setting and hanging out with Hollywood stars, because Kevin opened up about a part of his life not many people know. In a long and personal Instagram post, Kevin shared his struggles with mental health. Quote, "I've been battling depression and severe OCD all my life," he wrote. "With age comes a new understanding of those up and down extremes, but it's still a daily struggle. Writing this because we should never be afraid to talk. We are not alone."
We've known you for years, man. You consistently are literally the best.
It's an issue Kevin has lived with since his teenage years, and he's not the only familiar face to open up about the topic. In the last few months, stars like Justin Bieber, Demi Lovato, and even Kevin's buddy, The Rock, have shared their stories too. Kevin joins us to talk a little bit more about that post, the challenges he's faced, and the response that he's gotten. And my question is, both Holly and myself, is why come out with this?
Well, I mean, I've spoken about it in posts before. I've talked about OCD, and I actually made college films about OCD when I was at George Mason University. Two of my best friends and I used to make movies together, and one of the films I made was called OCD Me, and it was about the idea of the struggle with OCD and that voice inside your head. So I've always been kind of like, I've always talked about it with my friends, but there was a part of me recently that just started looking at social media and the idea that everything we share on there is this ultimate positive idea, right? So the idea of what we all see on social media is that we compare ourselves to people that we're seeing fractions of their lives, the good things in their lives, really. And I thought that that was an interesting thing, and I wanted to share that, you know, the idea of people deal with mental health all the time and people don't talk about it. There's a stigma around it. Growing up, I never told really anybody outside of my friends and family that I was dealing with OCD and depression and ADHD.
Because you were on medication.
Right.
You knew you had been diagnosed, and you knew this.
Right. So I was diagnosed with OCD when I was 14. I started noticing that I was different, I guess, in regards to when I was in elementary school, because I was always getting reports about talking too much or asking too many questions. And I didn't really understand what that meant. And until 7th grade, I remember going to a counselor at my middle school, Gildersleeve, and talking about these OCD worries and obsessions and compulsions that I was having. And then 9th grade came around and I was having problems in high school. I was being picked on. I was dealing with the OCD element. And I finally went to a doctor. My parents took me to a doctor. My mom and dad took me to a doctor. I was diagnosed with OCD. I got on different medications. I've been on everything from Zoloft to Anafranil to Lexapro. I'm currently on Prozac for OCD and depression. I'm currently on Ritalin for ADHD, and I take fish oil daily. So it's one of those things where I just wanted to put it out there because I feel like a lot of people don't understand that everybody's dealing with something like this. And there are days when you're down, there are days when you're up, and you have to understand that everybody's going through it. And if you talk about it with people, after I posted that message on Twitter and Instagram, I had so many people reach out to me saying that they had been through similar moments and similar feelings, but they needed someone, they needed to see somebody talk about it from my particular platform. So in the sense of like, I love my life, I have a great life, I have a great wife, I have a great house, I have a great job. But at the end of the day, there are things that I'm dealing with outside of social media. And I think that post was more of just me saying, here, I'm not that I'm a celebrity or like the level of, like, you know, you look at Justin Bieber and things like that. I'm just talking about it from my own perspective, the idea that I'm dealing with.
You know what, maybe that makes you even more relatable, because you know what, sometimes those superstars are so out of reach, and you know, you are a celebrity obviously in our world, but you're also a regular guy. You know what, and maybe people could see that.
So for me, I just wanted to put it out there. I let people know that you can talk about it. OCD is, see, I put depression and OCD in the tweet because OCD is what leads to depression. People have a big misconception about what OCD is. They think about the show Monk.
About that.
Well, they think about Monk, right? Like the idea of like touching germs. It is a debilitating, paralyzing thing that could take hours upon hours upon hours out of your day. I've had moments in my life where I've wasn't able to drive to see my parents and my father-in-law and my wife on Thanksgiving the night before because I was stuck doing like U-turns and driving.
I have someone in my family that suffers from it as well, and it's the need to make things even, right? And that can be paralyzing.
Well,
like
the reassurance, right? You constantly need reassurance. So I just wanted to put it out there. And here's the thing: I'm fine. I'm doing great. I love my life, but there are days where I am down, and that's why I put that out there, because it's okay to feel down. It's okay to talk to people. It's okay to be on medication, in my mind. I've been in therapy since I was 14. I'm currently seeing a doctor right now. I go every single week for therapy. I've tried different medications. I want to put this out to people. Different medications are different for different people. We all have different science inside of us. So don't stress out if it's not working for a couple weeks. Try different things. Let your doctor and you find something together. No doctor knows the way you are inside. You need to be consistent. You need to do that. I also need to eat better. I need to eat better. I need to stay off sugar. Try not as much caffeine. I used to drink a lot of Red Bull. It's funny, right now I'm talking and my mouth is getting dry. And this happens sometimes in the air because I take medication. And you start getting a dry mouth because of it. It's just the way it is. But I mean, I genuinely just wanted to put it out there and just to help people. So.
We honor the fact that you did.
Yeah, and
we love you to death for it.
It's a positive thing. Hashtag Good Day DC. I just want people to know that it is okay to talk about mental health.
Hashtag
really
Team Kevin. That's what we are, right? And I don't know why you're asked to deal with this, but maybe it's because you are helping others that are dealing with the same thing. I appreciate you saying that.
My mom has it. I was born with it. I genuinely think that while it is a chemical imbalance in our brain, you could have the best life ever and you could still feel down. It's because your brain has a chemical imbalance. It doesn't mean anything bad about you. So just know it's not you. You are not alone. We are all dealing with stuff.